Got some good questions there, Paparazzi. Hello to you out there in California. I'll give you a sense of setting. We're just a few blocks away from Sisu's place, and it's in the woods. It's near a river, and it's a nice place to take my son. We go hiking here of a Saturday morning, and he has his nice little adventures. And this is kind of a nice little spot. It's one of our favorite places to come. I mean, it's very nondescript, meaning that if you were to walk by, you just see a little patch of woods. But that gets me to one of your questions that you asked about how the trail has impacted where I am now. Now, I'm not doing these questions in the order that you gave us, but I thought I'd just get into this. You can edit. The trail has affected me, or my trail experiences years later has affected me in that I can find out and seek out nature wherever, whether it's in a city, whether it's in the country, whether it's in the Midwest or northern Wisconsin or out west or out east. I seek out nature. It is a part of me. It's in my fiber and in my blood. It's a part of me. And I've taken those experiences that I've had out on the trail, that the sense of nature imbuing itself into me, of becoming a part of me, of getting into me and never leaving and grabbing a hold of me. That's still there, and it's never gone away, and it never will. I'm gonna always have that sense of the wild man, no matter how civilized I am, and no matter how far I get away from the backcountry. That backcountry is still there. It's still in my heart. It's still a part of my being. Now, why did I hike the Pacific Crest Trail? Well, as Sisu said, we had hiked the Appalachian Trail 4 years earlier, and as anybody knows, there's that Triple Crown, and the PCT is part of the Triple Crown. And I wanted to hike that one next because the logistics, while more difficult than the Appalachian Trail in terms of town resupplies and the average mileage that you need to do and dealing with the snow in the high Sierras, it was easier than the Continental Divide Trail, which is that's the tough one. There's not a, that's a trail where you actually go off trail, and there's not trail that you follow, and you have to use a lot more navigational skills. So it's just it was a natural progression to go from the Appalachian Trail to the Pacific Crest Trail. And the CDT is on the life list. I'll get to it. Probably not in the near future. I may never even through hike it. I may just section hike it. I mean, life changes. You have to really make time to do a through hike, and I realize that now, years removed, how lucky I was to have that opportunity. How did the trail? The trail never answered necessarily any specific questions. It just reinforced who I am. It just validated this thing that in the real world makes me seem kind of odd. This love of nature, this love of simplicity, this desire to connect with the outdoors and find the peace and quiet and serenity that it offers. Being out there on the long distance trails not only gives you that serenity and peacefulness, but provides you with a community of people who also feel the same way. Now, you hike other trails in this country, and you don't necessarily get that sense of community. I mean, you go out. Most of my other hiking experiences have been very isolated. I've hiked the North Country Trail, the Superior Hiking Trail, sections of the Ice Age Trail, and I've never seen other people, other backpackers. It's always day hikers or even bicyclists and people that are out just for a weekend trip. And on a through hike, you get a very unique sense of community, and I really relished that. And years later, I really, really missed that. I missed being a part of that kind of family of the trail community. Tell you my best story of the trail. When we were hiking in Southern California, we met a couple that they were hiking the trail in sections. They would hike, they would meet in the middle each day, and one of them would have a vehicle, and they would shuttle the vehicle around, and Larry and Leanne, and we met them for about 4 days in a row in Southern California before Idlewild, and even a little while afterwards. And they gave us trail magic. They would give us candy bars or water, and we kind of just exchanged emails with them and didn't see them again after Idlewild, I believe. Well, 1,000, 1,500, I think 1,800 miles later in Oregon, we had gone through a period of almost 2 weeks of rain, cold rain, brutal rain, and we were really at our wits' ends. We were just getting tired of the rain, tired of the bad weather, and it was really sapping our spirits and sapping our energy. And in a rainstorm and just hiking in the middle of the woods, I looked down and there was a note on the trail. It said, "Raru and Sisu, we would like to meet with you again, Larry and Leanne," and there was a phone number there. Well, we found another hiker who had a cell phone, and we managed to call them, and they were such a saving grace. We actually met them coming out of, sorry, I'm having a mental block. Again, you can edit this. It was the lodge that's on the base of Mount Hood in Oregon. I forget the name of the lodge, but when the day that we came out of there, interestingly enough, we had crossed a creek where a woman had died hours earlier. She had drowned. We didn't know it until later. But it was just a rainy, yucky day. We went by Ramona Falls on our way, and when we got to this road crossing in the middle of the woods, Larry and Leanne met us, and we were thinking that they were going to give us coffee and cookies, and we'd be on our way and sleeping in the woods that night. But no, they far exceeded our expectations. They not only had coffee and cookies and pie, and oh, don't get me started talking about food. Thru hikers love to talk about food. But they took us into the nearest town and let us stay at a friend of theirs overnight. So imagine this scenario. I think there were 8 of us. 8 smelly, wet, hungry, thirsty hikers packed into the back of this RV, steaming hot everywhere. I mean, that RV there was a cloud in that RV. We had our own weather system in that RV because of all of the steam that we generated. And just mowing down on apple pie and cookies and drinking coffee, and our world just went instantly. I mean, within minutes, from miserable, cold, wet, tired, hungry to warm, satisfied, fed. And that's just one of many instances of trail magic, and that was a particularly memorable one because these were people that we hadn't met in over 1,500 miles, and they came to our rescue in a very big way at a time when we really needed it. And it really kind of just gave us a final big bolster push to get us to the end. Another thing I really liked about our PCT thru hike, especially with Team Stone Monkey, is the last 2 states, the last almost 1,000 miles, we were able to avoid towns. The logistics of it in Oregon, you really couldn't resupply except at fish and hunting camps. And then instead of having to take some really long hitches in Washington, one of the people we were hiking with, his sister, met us at road crossings and was able to give us our resupplies that way. So I got to enjoy my longest period of time I've ever of unbridled, unbroken wilderness, thanks to the cool way that we set that up. And if I could do it all over again, I'd do it the exact same way. So I think I've answered all your questions, probably in too much detail, but it's easier to edit than add. So again, my trail name is Raru. I'm going to keep on hiking, keep the trail in my heart and soul, and I hope you are as well. Rock and roll, take no prisoners.